All right, ladies and gentlemen, Eddie Marcus, and I'm back here again. You know, I'm always speaking to you about human beings, the whole population having their needs met, having their wants met, having their desires met at their leisure when they want to, having to suffer for nothing because they've learned the secret of life. I'm constantly saying that this is the message that I bring to you, offering that if you try a certain basic principle of God, which says just treat people like you want to be treated, that this would be the result. I talk about this all the time. Then sometimes it hit me. It said, well, what would happen, me bringing this kind of message to you, and you accepted it? And this society, our nation, or the world, either one, the changes occur. And our needs, our wants, and our desires were actually being met. What would happen in the event it was discovered that violations had started taking place in regards to that which is required to maintain this society, this way of life that I have been advocating for? Then I think about that happened before. I believe there's a book called the Bible that they said there was a place called heaven that angels were. The place where we've been praying, hoping that when we die we go to because we missed it here. Well, they say that this place in heaven had angels. And these angels were supposedly much better than we are. They were in heaven. But amongst them, violations took place. That's that story about the angel who was going around running his mouth and got a third of the heavenly host start saying, well, you know, that's pretty, I hadn't thought about that. Oh, yeah, I had thought about that. Yeah, well, let's see. Well, this message goes that they were kicked out. Anyway, I'm looking at the society that I've advocated. Needs, wants, desires, and violations take place. Then you think about, well, what do you do in a society like that? What do you do in a situation like that? And you think about all of the programs that are available, because the purpose basically is to find out what is causing. We're looking for cause. We see the effect, but what is the cause? We're searching for the cause. All of the programs that are available, whatever, for rehabilitation, try to get a redress. Now, what after having tried all of these various approaches, that it appears that these violators are incorrigible, that they cannot be swayed to do anything other than what they do? Then in a situation like that, then there's no doubt they must be separated, in my way of thinking, from this wonderful way of life that you've got. They must be separated from those of you who are accepting this way of life, because rotten apples do cause rot to those they touch. And so they must be separated in a place, to a place where they themselves are unique to themselves. You know, ladies and gentlemen, the separation is not for punishment, because we tried everything within the society that failed. And this separation is not for punishment, but for a moral approach to rehabilitation. This process requires, listen to me, I wrote this down because I didn't want to miss it. This process requires that in order for survival, in order for these who are incorrigible, these who had no respect for others' righteousness, in order for them to survive, for they have spent they have spent their lives violating other people's righteousness as described by love. Now These must learn to respect one another's righteousness. They must learn to respect one another's righteousness in order to receive those sustenance necessary for survival, like food, like clothing, like shelter, like education, like health care, like transportation, and like infrastructure built for where they are at. For every wonderful thing that they want, they must respect one another and cause a manifestation of it. This is how they will learn righteousness amongst themselves. Learning righteousness amongst themselves. Changing their way of life. Because if they don't change their way of life, there is no life. So, they change. And when they change, that's the story of the prodigal son. Then they're welcome back. So I'm thinking to myself, you couldn't throw these guys out, and putting them in prison according to the way the systems of the world operate is not to rehabilitate, it's just a money-making operation. But if you really care, then the thing of it is not to hurt them, but to allow them to work with you so the project can work for both parties concerned. And then I'm thinking about angels corrupted, kicked out, and the world that you, the people, build for peace and prosperity and freedom, and someone come along and like what's happening in the United States right now, some strange things happening, and you just kick that out. But you just can't kick that out now. In the United States, you just can't kick out, you know what I'm talking about, and then leave the rest of it the way it is. If you're going to kick one out, you got to kick them both out and make it right for everybody. In America, and in America, if you allow this opportunity to fade, this opportunity for you to do the best that citizens have ever done. I'm talking about much better than that what your founding fathers did. Much better than that Abraham Lincoln did. Much better than that which Dr. King was able to cause an understanding of. What it's all about. We got an opportunity to cause a manifestation of that. Now, there are 10 families that rule the world, they say, that will not like this. And they will do anything that they possibly can to prevent it. To prevent God's way? Oh, brother. Somebody said they would drop bombs, they would shoot missiles, and they would do everything they possibly can because they don't want things to change. But somewhere I heard that there was a plane that fell out of the sky and no one was hurt. I heard somewhere that there was a ship that overturned,